Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Please don't forget to subscribe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blow the Whistle Sports. I'm your host, Wayne Holloway, and thank you once again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. And like always, if you want to see something on our show or you have a bright idea that you want to see us implement on the show, drop them in those comments below or hit us on any one of our social media outlets. Holla at us, we holla back. But we got a full show for you guys today, and we got a full squad today. But let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We'll start off with Mr. Stephen Rubain and Mr. Patrick Nagle. How you guys doing?
Woo, man, I'm excited. Patrick's back in the house, so I'm excited. Finally, we can double team you, Patrick. we can double team you, Patrick.
Hey, it is what it is. I accept the challenge. Carolina at heart. So I know how to appeal to Patrick to get him on my side a little bit. You don't have that kind of power, Steve.
Man, what weakness, I say, brother. We're excited though. We're excited. We'll have you back in, and let's get you nice and warmed up.
Well, thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. I really do.
Yes.
Miss you guys.
Hey, it's been a minute, but how have you been, Patrick?
Well, I've had a little. I'm getting better. I had some things going on, but I'm getting better, and I'm just excited to talk about sports and not talk about all the things that go with not getting older and not feeling at your best. So, we're doing good.
You're not alone.
Like I said, you're not alone. I can relate to you, Patrick, 100%. And sports is the great healer.
Who sings the song? You are not alone. It's man. Wow. My goodness.
They know why we double team you. That's that right there. That was awful.
Hey, my voice is getting there. I didn't have my tea. I did have my tea. That's all that was.
Michael Jackson just rolled over in his grave after hearing that.
Hey,
do that again.
But where we going first? Where we going to start at first?
We got to start with the boxing. We've been getting some comments, and so we want to get some correct. Now that we got Patrick in the house too, we can do some corrections and make sure we're on point because we're fans, guys. We're not boxing experts. We're not Gil Clancy. We're not Freddie Pacheco. Who were some of the great boxing analysis will sit there and can name you every fight from 1929.
We got what's that doctor? What's his name?
Yeah, Pacheco. There was Gil Clancy. Angelo Dundee.
There's the guy that Floyd Mayweather tried to fight because he couldn't beat anybody else. The old man, Gil something. But
and my favorite, remember Kevin Rooney?
I do. We got Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas is the man these days.
Teddy Atlas hated Tyson.
You got to check your internet connection a little bit, Steve. You're kind of doing the Zoran thing from the Mighty Power Rangers.
He's got the Max Headroom going on.
Yeah, Max Headroom going on. So we fixed that. But while we're doing that, like I said, we do want to make that one correction. I did make a mistake.
Well, before you make the correction, while you are fixing your internet, I want to ask Patrick.
Yes.
And who does he think is the GOAT of boxing? And we're not going to do it just one person. We're going to do it by weight class, heavyweight, and then go down to the little guys, the super the featherweights and the welterweights. Yeah, or let's just say, who do you think who's the GOAT? Period.
Off the top of my head, I'm not an expert on every single weight class and the guy in there, right. But to me, like, to go greatest of all time, you have to go back in time, right? When guys fought whoever showed up, and whoever was the number one contender, and there was no politicking and money making to avoid guys. So I have to go with the king, Rocky Marciano, who really was, the godfather of the modern boxing era. Right. So
Right.
he's up there for me. I put a guy like Mike Tyson up there right up until his career derailed. He would have been that guy for me as well, but things went a little sideways for him, as we all know. I think you can also start having category conversations about guys like, you can have a conversation about a guy like Lennox Lewis, who, although not sexy, was one of the greatest of all time, because he was to quote him, he was a pugilist, and he fought smart and boring style to watch as a spectator. But then I also, for me, like, I get attracted to guys like Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, not necessarily because of their record, but because of their fight anyone at any weight class that they could possibly make, and their can-do attitude and wanting to be the best, to fight the best. And although, they lost some of those fights, they fought them. And to me, you got to get a tip of the cap there for, it's no secret I'm not the biggest Floyd Mayweather fan, but I think you could put Julio Cesar Chavez into the same category, where when you kind of hand pick your opponents and you kind of avoid maybe someone that stylistically isn't a great matchup for you, you can get to a pretty impressive record, and maybe it's not the best and sexiest. So for me, Rocky Marciano is the GOAT, but I personally give a lot of credit and a lot of consideration to guys that took the challenge on and fought anyone, and even moved up in weight class to do it.
Hey, well, me and you kind of go hand in hand. I picked Rocky myself. Like I said to everybody, I was a Mike Tyson a follower,
Yes.
but Ali, even Mike Tyson gave it to Ali. But being realistic with myself, knowing the record of Rocky, knowing the fear he put in people, where people avoided him, people didn't want to take fights with him, and he was giving fights out, and he was the champ.
Yep.
So that's hands down. It's no argument. When you're undefeated, when your record speaks for itself, it is what it is for me. It is what it is. Rocky. Hey, Steve.
I like Patrick. I love Patrick. The one missing is Sugar Ray Robinson. We mentioned last week 128-1.
Right.
And I think, let me see if Patrick can answer the trivia question. We did have a trivia question last week. And did we ever get anybody call in and answer it for us? Robinson was 128-1 and only had one loss against the Raging Bull. Can you name who that Raging Bull was? Our movie buffs.
Yeah, Jake D'Amato.
Jake LaMotta, yes.
Hey, I'm glad Patrick asked me, because I was like, I hope he don't ask me, because I do not know.
Yes, Jake LaMotta was the only loss he had as a welterweight, 128-1. His list of guys he fought was so on by everyone. If you want to fight, he would. So I got him on my list.
Yeah, I went off the top of my head there, and you're right, Steve. I did forget him. I would.
Yeah, he's the only one. But I like Marciano. I like everybody else, but that's the only one. That 128-1, man, is just 49 and 0 impressive, but 128-1.
Rocky had perfect, unblemished record.
Perfect. Like I said,
it is what it is.
Too. He fought Josie Joe Walcott. He's going on and on his resume. The resume is beautiful.
And anybody that argues that, they would only be, people that come up in different eras. Like, I didn't watch Rocky's fights. I'm going off of common sense of the record. Common sense. It's a no-brainer. Anybody else is strictly going off of feelings and how they feel. But nobody cares how you feel. It is what it is, period.
Yeah. And the bottom line with your Floyd Mayweather is that he had a fight signed, championship fight against Winky Wright. He signed the contract, tore the check up. That alone.
Did you see how it was a perfect transition?
Y'all to go conversation. Can you imagine Rocky Marciano tearing up a contract he signed against Joe Louis? What people would say about him?
Mm-hmm. I apologize to you, Patrick, but you see, I didn't say anything about Mayweather. We stayed. We talked about this. We stayed on how we were supposed to do it, and then Steve wanted to kick me before we got out of it. So now I got to say this, Steve. Now I have to say this. Look, Mayweather is the GOAT of all the divisions he fought in. I understand you upset he didn't fight the people you want him to fight. I understand that he avoided fights, which the boxing commission lets you do.
He signed the contract. He tore it up. What are you talking about, the boxing commission? He signed the contract and tore it up. Okay. Okay. All right. So
Steve,
we'll leave it at that.
I can make these comparisons when we go to basketball and say how LeBron did it differently from Jordan. It doesn't matter. That's a different era. They did things a different way. And I hate it too. Things change. We're getting older. Things change, Steve. Things change. And they don't do it like that no more, Steve.
Okay, yeah, like back in the old days, they didn't tear up contracts. Guys in the old days.
Steve,
I'll leave it at that.
Mayweather's record is undefeated. I understand you. I get it. I get it. I feel for you, sir.
I just respect guys. I respect guys who fight guys. That's all I'm talking about. I respect guys. I don't respect guys.
And I respect your opinion. Just like in basketball, I respect guys that stay where they get drafted to and take the lumps on the head like all the greats did, and they wait for their perfect person to come along so then they can make their legacy. Not guys that leave and go to other places, but when I say that, you don't understand that meaning. But now you understand it. But
can I explain? Patrick, can I explain?
It's your show. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, he's just jabbering on, just jibber jabbering. I'm calling you.
Hey,
Steve. Actually, can I put some context to what you guys are both saying?
Hey, put some context to it, Patrick.
This is foreshadowing for what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But when you talk about the greatest of all time, right? It becomes a very subjective conversation because your opinion of what makes someone the greatest of all time versus someone else's opinion of what makes someone the greatest of all time is different, right? So, there's many people that are going to say Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. There's many people that are going to say LeBron is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Not that many.
And neither is wrong, and because it's your opinion, right? And it just depends on which attribute you give more weight to determines how you feel about that player. Because the hardest part about sports is when you start talking about who's the greatest fighter. Well, things are different now than they were in the 1950s. Who's the greatest quarterback? They didn't throw the ball as much in the 1970s, and plays weren't as progressive as they are now. So if you just look at statistics, then obviously the players of today statistically are going to be quote unquote far superior to the players of the past. Baseball, the game is different. So, all in all, what you guys are both saying is your opinions and your personal indicators of how you value someone's worth. In basketball, LeBron obviously statistically is the greatest player of all time. Statistically. However, he also has played a lot more seasons, and the game is different and not as physical as it was when Jordan played. Now, does that make Jordan less than LeBron? It does not. Does that make Jordan better than LeBron? It does not. It just means it's different, and it's hard to quantify. Who that's where it comes down to the splitting of the hair and personal opinions about who makes someone the best and why they're quote unquote the greatest of all time. It is going to be incredibly rare that you are ever going to have everyone agree that this individual is the greatest player of all time at their position or at their sport, because it just isn't that way. I mean, there's guys that have phenomenal seasons, and yet every year somebody doesn't vote for them for MVP, right? When everyone and their brother says, hey, that's the MVP, and somebody has a different opinion of what they value. So you're both right. We can talk about it all night, but I don't think either one of you are going to change either one of you's minds. And, we should probably make a correction that Steve needs to make, and then we should probably move on to the next argument we're going to have.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. And
I agree with you 100%.
Let
me make action real quick for
exactly what I said.
Okay,
I said that.
There you go, Packet A. Smith. Packet A. Smith.
All three of us.
There you go, cutting me.
Huh?
You told me I'm gonna get a chance to get my correction, and then you won't let me correct it.
I'm gonna let you correct it, but then you kicked me in the balls when you first started trying to correct it.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead and correct it, Steve. Go ahead and correct it.
Okay, what Patrick said is 100% correct. The only thing to correct you, Packet, is that unlike in boxing, where you do have a chance to make choices as to who you choose, who drafts you. So LeBron was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls.
I don't think you're making your point right now. I think you're expanding again.
Packet A. Smith, can I finish? Thank you. Okay.
We're listening.
Kobe was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. He can stay with the Lakers. That was a great organization. That got great. Michael Jordan with the Bulls got players around him to make him great. LeBron James stayed 8 years and 2 contracts in Cleveland, and who was the team he had around him? Mo Williams, Agauskas, and a bunch of side players. He said, I need to get out of here. I can't win here. Is that his fault? He gave him 8
I could have sworn Patrick said you're not going to win this argument. I thought you were talking about boxing.
One second. You're not understanding the point. You can't change who drafts you. All you can do is decide to go where you have the best chance to win, which LeBron did.
I didn't say anything about anybody being drafted, sir.
He didn't have a choice.
I didn't say anything about anybody being drafted.
He was the first pick in the draft.
I don't accept your argument.
Yeah, it's not making any sense. Dude.
What?
It doesn't make.
What's not making sense to you, Packet? He gave him 8 years.
Here's what's not making sense to me.
What more can he do?
We're not talking. When you're talking about the greatest of all time, we're not talking about like the position in which I was drafted in. I'm not even talking about whether or not LeBron went to Miami and did all those things. I mean, I don't care about those things. Hold on, let me finish. I don't care about those things. I mean, because at the end of the day, LeBron is still a great player, one of the greats. And if you're going to rank them, the only debate becomes, is he 1, 2, or 3, in my opinion. But what I was talking about was you can't compare everything that LeBron did. You can't take those same set of circumstances and apply them to Jordan because he didn't play in that era. Vice versa, right? Like, for instance, I could make an argument that Wilt Chamberlain is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But there was no one his size and athletically skilled enough when he played. There is now. Would Wilt be as great now as he was then? Obviously not, because there weren't guys of his size and stature and his ability. It doesn't matter to me where they played or the circumstances around it. To me, I look at the totality of their career. Listen, I don't care that LeBron left and went to Miami. I don't care that he went back to Cleveland. I don't care that he went to the Lakers. None of that stuff matters to me personally, because at the end of the day, he's still one of the greats. He's clearly top 5. In my opinion, top 3. Exactly. And we could start splitting hairs to decide if he's 1, 2, or 3. And that's where it gets away from reality and fact base and gets into people's personal opinions, is what I was trying to say. Because you might give more weight to championships. Wayne might give more weight to built the team around him and stayed with his team. Other people might give more weight to how many points he scored or his individual statistics. Wade might say, hey, I don't really care about individual statistics. I care about total number of wins. Like, it just, that's what I'm talking about. The circumstances and the window dressing and all those things around it are just that. They're just the stuff. But when it's all, because it is subjective and it comes down to opinion.
I agree.
The three of us can watch a movie and we can all say we like the movie, but how we evaluate it, whether we loved it, liked it, there's going to be different things that we enjoy. The movie was the same, but the pieces that we pick out, because it has to do with our upbringing, how we feel about things, what we value, all those things come into question when you start evaluating, quote unquote, the greatest of all time. And I'll ask this simple question: is Emmitt Smith the greatest running back of all time?
Ooh.
Now, if you ask me,
statistics, yes.
If you ask me, the answer is no. I will lean on a guy like Gale Sayers. I'll lean on a guy like Walter Payton. I'll lean on guys that had phenomenal careers on horrible teams. Because again, you can't control where you're drafted, to your point, Steve. But they produce amazing statisticals. What would Jim Brown's statistical been if he played more than 6 seasons? Like, all those things come into play when you're starting to say who's the greatest running back of all time. Just because Emmitt Smith has more yards doesn't make him the greatest, in my opinion.
Right.
Now I'm done with this conversation. We can move on.
Right. Hey. I totally agree. That's why I said you don't compare errors. Every error has their GOAT. I agree.
And we're going to do that again here in a second when we do quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to be lovely. I can't wait to get into it. Let's get into the World Cup. Or did you want to clear up something with somebody, too?
No, the only clear up was that that Mayweather did fight Marquez. So there was one to not me. I said did not fight Marquez. He did fight and beat Marquez. So that still doesn't take away from the other fighters that he did not fight, but I will give him credit for that. That's all.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to this World Cup.
Woo!
Oh, man. Who would have thought that soccer was so exciting? I really got into soccer 3 years ago, and you know what? My biggest, just like with me and Steve's argument just then, my biggest hang-up was they used to call soccer football. Dumb argument. Now, soccer is football, but not the football, not the NFL. But I used to be, for whatever strange reason, offended that they would call soccer football. I've gotten past that, I guess, in my older age, and soccer is amazing. It is amazing. Wow. But let's jump right into this World Cup. What's going on, Steve?
Well, it was a sad day for me and my picks because Germany, who I picked to the World Cup, lost today in penalty kicks to Paraguay. A huge upset. The first huge upset of the World Cup. So, yeah, it's what it is. But
we're Paraguay eliminations now, right?
Yeah, eliminations now. Anything can happen. Yeah, the knockout rounds, anything can happen. So, give them credit. Great win for them. Bad loss for Germany. So
that's the 68th minute in Morocco and the Netherlands are tied 0-0.
Still tied, yeah. That's gonna be that could be another huge upset.
That's another upset.
Netherlands off.
Yeah, it's another upset in the making right there.
Yeah. The one that pulled out there was Brazil. Brazil last minutes against Japan. So we give Brazil credit. They're still, I don't know. I think now they got to be my favorites. Now that Germany's out, I think Brazil, Argentina.
I'm still going with England.
My two favorites.
I'm still with England. Hey.
He has England. I'll ask you why, but he has England.
Hey.
England.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't argue with him. I just said, okay, we'll wait and see.
Hey, it is what it is.
Argentina was my pre-pick. They've looked nothing short of phenomenal. Messi looks like he's found the fountain of youth.
Yeah, that's fine.
But let's talk about something that I mean, it's a pipe dream, but it would be amazing for us that live here on the West Coast of the United States of America, and that is there's a real shot that Mexico and the United States could find their way to the finals.
That's awesome.
And the United States is playing really, really well. I know they lost to Turkey, but I think the thing that when you watch the game, obviously they put in the B squad. They didn't want to put anybody at risk for injury that had a yellow card to risk suspension. But as soon as they put in Christian Pilchek, I can't exactly remember how to pronounce his name exactly right, but he looked different. He almost scored on multiple occasions, and they lost on a last-second goal in extra time. So they look good. I think they'll come back hungry. I think the loss will get them. They're playing Bosnia. I think they have a really good chance to advance out of that game, and I think that's really amazing. And I think to your point, Wayne, for those of us that didn't grow up with soccer here in the United States, there would be nothing more to really light the world on fire here in the United States of soccer for the U.S. to make a deep run into the knockout stages and to really generate a lot of excitement. But the game's been exciting. The fans have traveled all over the world, have been amazing. Watching all the different nationalities and people party, and here in Seattle, watching the parade of nations of the teams playing here, in downtown Seattle, taking over 50,000 people. It's been nothing short of amazing, and I'm excited to keep watching, and I'm excited for the U.S. to get a victory on Wednesday night.
Oh yeah. And don't sleep on Mexico, because Mexico is in there doing dirt.
They're doing good. They're doing good right now.
Yes, they are.
I'm excited.
Oh my goodness.
I'm excited. I think the U.S. is definitely going to be favored all 8. I think they got to play possibly in that 8. That's going to be a tough one. But yeah, that's tough. The harder they go along, the better.
The U.S. side of the bracket is the easiest side of the bracket.
Netherlands just scored. Side, yeah. They should be able the next 2 games.
Yep, I agree.
So they get to Brazil in that round of 8. It's going to be a challenge. So we'll see.
Yeah, 57 seconds left in this game, and Netherlands just scored, like Patrick said. Oh my goodness.
They scored.
Oh my goodness. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty. Hey, well, you know what? We're going to keep a live update on that score to let you know, because it's only seconds left. But moving on, we got to get to the top subject that we wanted to talk tonight, and that is top 5 QBs of all time and going in the NFL. We'll start off with you, Patrick, then Steve, then me.
Wow. All right. Well, before I dive all the way in here, and let me look at my notes here real quick.
Okay.
I got a couple of honorable mention guys, because it's really hard to narrow it down to 5 for me. And as I alluded to earlier in the show when we were talking, comparing eras is hard because just the way in which offenses were schemed, the rules have changed dramatically. So it really kind of skews the weighting. So here's a couple guys that I'm going to give honorable mention to. First guy, Terry Bradshaw, 4 Super Bowl championships. Led his team to obviously one of the greatest dynasties in NFL history at that time. I'm going to give a nod to one of my personal favorites, Dan Fouts, who, the Air Coryell days and one of the first NFL teams to really throw the ball around and really make it look good. Mm-hmm. Another honorable mention guy I'm going to give is John Elway, 2 Super Bowl championships, 5 appearances in the big game. Just fell a little short for me. Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Drew Brees, and Steve Young also get honorable mentions for me, along with the man who revolutionized the modern passing game, and that's Johnny Unitas. If you ever watch Johnny Unitas play, he really threw the ball well in an era and a time when the forward pass was, we're talking like, maybe 10, 11 passing attempts a game back in those days. So Really, those are my guys that kind of fell outside the top 5 for me. So without further ado, we'll go to number 5 for me is Dan Marino. He was probably the most accurate passer in the history of the NFL. Had a huge arm. He had the Marx brothers, and they put up just phenomenal stats. They had a 15-1 season, losing to the Chicago Bears in a Monday night game, and unfortunately came across Joe Montana and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. And as we know, the 49ers just don't lose in Super Bowls when Joe Montana is playing quarterback. So Dan Marino, number 5 for me. I think if Dan Marino had a running game, I think if Dan Marino had a defense, I think Dan Marino would have been a multi-time Super Bowl champion. But unfortunately, they didn't ever really have much of a running game when Dan was there.
Right.
Number 4, active quarterback. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes for me. Mahomes, he's obviously young. He's already, multiple Super Bowl titles, multiple MVPs. He's still got a long ways to go in his career. I think, but when it's all said and done, he's definitely in the top 5 of most quarterback statistics. I think the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs have made it to 5 consecutive AFC Championship games up until last year. Or is it more? Might be more. Anyways, multiple AFC championships, and quite frankly, in the postseason, and you don't want to play him, and most importantly, if you have a lead, you don't ever want to give him the ball back because he's fine to win. So he's my number 4. Number 3, I go with Peyton Manning. A couple Super Bowls, did it with 2 different teams, 2 different franchises. He has the most NFL MVPs ever with 5. Right. I think the one thing about Peyton Manning is that sets him apart than a lot of the other quarterbacks on this list. Athletically, Peyton Manning is not a great athlete. He was probably the most cerebral and mental processor the game has ever known.
Yes.
And he was able to make throws even when his arm strength and arm talent was just not there anymore in the twilight of his career. Absolutely. And he got it done and beat my Carolina Panthers in his final game in Super Bowl 50. I know. Number 2, Joe Montana. 4 Super Bowl titles. Never lost a Super Bowl. Playoff Joe was something to behold. And 3 Super Bowl MVPs, and he was incredibly poised under pressure. I grew up watching Joe, growing up in the Bay Area. I have a lot of respect for what he did and that team did. I think I could make the argument that Joe, maybe could be in the top spot, but just based on everything else, no surprise, Tom Brady gets the top spot for me. He won 7 Super Bowls. He was a 5-time Super Bowl champion. Super Bowl MVP. He obviously holds the record in almost every category because he played the longest. But I think it's also to point out in a time during Tom Brady's NFL career, he actually played in about 34% of every Super Bowl ever played. So, yes, he lost some Super Bowls, and yes, they never got the undefeated season. Another processor of the game, maximized his athletic ability, reinvented his body multiple times to really become the best that he could. His passion and drive for winning built up and lifted up everyone around him. The other thing for me that puts Tom Brady at the top of the list is, other than the season he had Randy Moss, he never really had a true number 1 receiver, a guy that could go somewhere else and be a superstar or a stud. And yet somehow, some way, every year they went out and put up, massive numbers and had great success. And even when he played, that first year in Tampa, goes there with, a different system, a different team, and acts as if he's been there his whole life. So, for me, it's Tom Brady, hands down. And that's my list. But again, I do want to say that it's hard. This is hard because you're getting down to the edge of the rule and personal opinions. And, my list has some older school guys and some new school guys and some middle school guys, but
Solid list, though. I
you,
like your list.
but you have to look back at guys like I said, like Johnny U and see, geez, I wonder if, you have to go back and
Mhm.
look at Roger Staubach, Fran Tarkington, guys that were different. And I'll take some heat for this. And you also have to look at a guy like Cam Newton. And the reason I bring up Cam Newton, Otto Graham, Steve Young, guys like that is because they changed the position.
Right.
Cam Newton was big, strong, and if we're just going to be honest, was kind of at the forefront of African American quarterbacks, and can they, play a running style of football and be a running / passer. And he opened the doors for guys like Lamar. He opened the door for guys like Russell Wilson. He opened the door for guys like that. And so, I'm not going to say if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be those guys, but he definitely was at the forefront of kind of dispelling that myth and that BS. And in my opinion, he took a lot of crap for stuff he did off the field, like putting a towel over his head and his sense of style, which is admittedly a little strange, but that has nothing to do with his on-field performance.
Right.
And I think if you look around and you start talking about different guys like that, Roger Staubach, Otto Graham, again, guys that were different for the time. But
Yes.
now we look back and say that, they opened the door and allowed other people to come through and say, hey, that guy's kind of like me and I can do that. So that's my list.
Hey, and that's a wonderful list. Now,
Very strong list. Very
Mr.
strong.
Stephen Rubain, let's see what your list is. Patrick had a high list.
I want to commend Patrick, first of all. Very, very strong list. I agree with him for many of the picks he made. I agree with his list and my list is that I do I won't say punish quarterbacks, but I do winning, especially winning in the big game, is a big deal for me. We talk about a quarterback because that's what you're looking for in the quarterback
decision making.
And so, no matter how statistics are, how you play in the big game means a lot to me. And also, of hyper in the sense of, I talk about my honorable mention. Patrick Mahomes has had an amazing so far.
Right.
But as we know with football, he can be out of the NFL tomorrow. I mean, there's no guarantees that we can't hypothetically say he's going to have another couple Super Bowls, he's going to have another couple MVPs. We'll never know. Judging off of what he doesn't make my top 5. He's my honorable mention because he's had what, 4 Super Bowls, 2 wins, a couple MVPs. Yeah, it's definitely been an amazing run.
Yeah,
but
3
5 guys ahead of him. Well, 3 MVP, 3, yes. But the
He's
5 guys ahead of
him. Yes, 2 back to back.
Does he have back to back Super Bowls? He has back to
back
wins. Okay,
they went for the 3-peat.
Back to back.
Yes.
Okay, and he has the MVPs. I'll give him that. But
you just don't
if,
like
if his career ended tomorrow, will he still be in your top 5? Is the question.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Undeniably.
Let me throw you my top 5.
I'm anxious to hear your list.
Let's go.
Let me throw you my top 5 then. And then my other honorable mention, Dan Marino. Yes, Dan Marino statistically has all the criteria, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the one Super Bowl he was in, one touchdown, and this was the year he had crazy 48 touchdown Super Bowl. 49ers took it to him. Montana outplayed him and outplayed him well. So I can't put him in the top 5 all time. And in the biggest career, he didn't come up and get the job done. And so that's my only knock on Marino. Everything else is great, but Marino, in the one game that mattered the most, he wasn't at his best. And so that's it. Those are my honorable mentions. Now, my number 5, and I put down for my number 5, John Elway. And this is why and get me wrong, I don't like John Elway. I'm a John Elway hater. But when it comes down to playing in the big game, when it comes down to winning big matchups, John Elway, 5 Super Bowl wins. We had to talk about the drive, the fumble. I mean, great plays to win games in the big moments in Elway's career. And he did it with essentially two different Broncos teams, because the team in his first 3 Super Bowls was totally different from this second time around. And so I give him that number 5 spot because he matched all the criteria of a winner. You know, you can't, like you mentioned with Marino, you can't punish him for the defense they had the time around. You can't punish him. He didn't have, I mean, who was his running back those 3 Super Bowls he had the first time? Nobody knows. And he never had a top wide receiver. Never. You can't name any wide receiver he had that is anywhere in the top 50 all time.
Mark Jackson,
So,
Ricky
give him
Natio.
a great wide receiver. So that's my number 5. Like I said, and I don't like Elway, but I got to give him his props for his career. Okay. Surprised, Patrick, that you didn't have Johnny Unitas at number 4. Listen to this: 4 NFL championships, a Super Bowl championship, 3-time league MVP. What more does he need to do? He essentially has 5.
He didn't win against the AFL.
Well, but he wasn't the quarterback that game.
That's right.
He was.
That's right.
Against the Jets. Morrow was quarterback that year. If Johnny,
your computer is breaking up, Steve.
Okay, hold a second. Try it now. So Unitas was hurt that game against the Jets. Didn't play.
All right.
So that's the one knock on him, was that unfortunately he didn't even play, but he did beat the Cowboys, and so that's my number 4. Now everything else, I agree with Patrick on. Number 3, Peyton Manning, 2 franchises, 4 league MVP, 4 Super Bowl appearances. He hits every criteria as far as accuracy, as far as big game management. Number 2, of course, we have Joe Montana, Mr. Montana, 4 Super Bowls, MVPs, everything. And number 1, of course, is Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowl wins.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Well, so you dinged Mahomes because you said, quote unquote, you don't want to reward someone for their potential or their promise versus what they actually did. But yet he has more Super Bowl victories than John Elway and more Super Bowl victories than Peyton Manning. So why is he not higher?
Great question. That's a great question. Because as of right now, we haven't seen Mahomes. We haven't seen and a different team. Mahomes won with Kelsey. He's won with the guy coach he has now. Let's see where Mahomes' career goes the next 2, 3, 4 years, when they're going to have changes. When Kelsey retires, when he has to bring in different guys around him. What makes Brady great was that the team around Brady changed, but yet he still maintained his greatness. Mahomes,
Agreed. I'm not talking about Brady.
But I'm saying, when I'm speaking about Mahomes, we don't know yet what Mahomes is going to look like once the guys who he's playing with now are gone.
But he's already outperformed. He's already outperformed several of the guys on your list. And John Elway, just for the record, didn't win a Super Bowl until Terrell Davis came and they became a running team, not a passing team.
I agree with you, and I'm saying basically 2 careers. He has a career with the first bunch of Broncos, and he has a career with the second bunch. And so
I'll make the same argument you made about Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make the same argument you just made for Brady for Mahomes. Can you name, and you made for Elway, can you name the top receiver other than Kelsey on any of those Chiefs teams? The wide receiver.
Top wide receiver for Kelsey? Good question. Let me
think. Chiefs.
Who was KC's top receiver back when they won the Super Bowl, the first one?
Hill.
That's a good question.
Tyreek.
Tyreek.
What about the last 2?
They had good question.
He had makeshift. He put it together.
My point is, I'm just I'm not, your list is solid, and I'm not arguing. We're doing the same thing I
He
talked
doesn't
about.
like Patrick. I told you that.
Slight edge of the rule here, but what I'm saying
and my point is,
your
Mahomes
criteria,
is all the same.
but he already is based on your own criteria. That's my point. He already has more Super Bowls than John Elway and Peyton Manning.
Their argument. I'm not going to argue against that. Like I said, Mahomes, when all is said and done, he could very well be top 5. And I think I almost say he definitely will be. But I can't take Elway off when I saw Elway play with 2 different teams and win with 2 different teams. I haven't seen Mahomes yet win with 2 different teams. About Mahomes and what he's done in this era. That's all.
What number were you on?
No, I'm all done. We agree on the 3 we agree on. The only changes are 4. But I had the 4 and 5 I have the same that Patrick has, just that he has his, I have mine is 4 and 5. That's all.
And both of you guys have Tom Brady as the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
As much as I hate to say it.
Well, me, I can only be me, and I respect both of you guys' list, and you guys have both supreme lists. My list is a little bit different, and no need for me to go into all the explanation because you and Patrick put it together perfectly. Let me start with number 1. My number 1 on my list is Joe Montana. He did it at a time where you could clobber the quarterback. There was no rules made for him, and he did it at a high level. And my number 2 would be Tom freaking Brady. Now, Tom Brady, everybody knows I like Tom Brady. He's been my fantasy QB for a few leagues, but guess what? He cheated. His organization cheated all at the time when he was there. So I can't put him number 1, even though he has number 1 status. Joe Cool, none of those allegations. Joe Cool, each time he went there, he did his thing. He's my number 1. Tom Brady's my number 2, and I gave you the reason why. My number 3 is Patrick, the man Mahomes, that I expect to get at least 2 more Super Bowls before he's up out of here. He's a great, and I as to what Steve said, I believe you will see his whole team change in the next couple of years. And to what Patrick was saying, those 2 Super Bowls back to back that you forgot about, his wide receivers were makeshift that he pulled from all across the league, and they were trash during the season he went to the Super Bowl. Me and you, Steve, if you can remember, he kept throwing to a certain guy that kept dropping the ball. Smith-Schuster had to step up some games and come from nowhere. He only had Kelsey, and he had a decent running game, and he was still able to overcome, which puts him at the number 3 spot. And he's only number 3 because he's so young. He has so many more years to go. My number 4. And my number 4 is my guy, my favorite quarterback, which is Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is my number 4. That's my guy. He's always on every one of my fantasy lists. And as Patrick said, Peyton Manning was a different QB. Not all athletic, but he knew how to make adjustments. He knew how to fake a defense out by just calling audibles and still do the same play. Peyton Manning is timeless, and he did it with 2 different teams with a broken arm. I guarantee if the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos played that game 3 times, Panthers will win twice, and the Broncos will win that one game that they did, which in the Super Bowl, it's in the books. They did it. And my number 5, John Elway. He speaks for himself. Like Steve said, he did it with 2 different teams. And John Elway, to me, is all what a QB should be, that grit. And that's my number 5. That's my number 5. That's my top 5. My honorable mentions are Drew Brees and Brett Favre. Those guys. Johnny Unitas, I've heard a lot about him. I know he was great. Dan Marino, I know he almost had a perfect season, no Super Bowls. I have to say something about him because those are guys that are football 101. That's football knowledge. They're great QBs. They just didn't make my top 5. So you guys go ahead, pick apart my top 5 and tell me what you think.
Before we do
You wanna go
that,
first,
1-1 in the World Cup. Morocco has scored to tie the game.
Woo!
It's in the last seconds of regulation time right now. So it looks like we're headed for overtime. Picking apart your top 5. Well, I mean, other than Marino and Elway, our top 5 is the same, just with different names in different places. So I can't pick it apart too much, other than I'll make the same comment about Elway. You know, he didn't really win until Terrell Davis came and lit the world on fire. But hey, he has 2 Super Bowls and he was a great player. But no harm, no foul there. You know, like I said, for me, I mean, you know, you could win with any one of these guys, and you know, and these guys are all phenomenal. They're football royalty, with the exception of Mahomes. These guys are all Hall of Famers.
Yes.
Most of them first ballot Hall of Famers, as they deserve to be. And you know, I don't think you can go wrong. Mahomes is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, even if he never plays another down. You know, I will take a little exception with your Brett Favre pick. For me personally, he's a little bit too careless with the football at times, and we tend to remember the miraculous plays that he made for being a gunslinger, and we kind of tend to forget that he threw a lot of interceptions that cost his team games. So that's just why I'm a little less high on him, but still a phenomenal player and a quarterback that, of course, I would love to have.
He was an honorable mention. He didn't make the list.
I know.
I like Brett Favre, that gunslinger.
Listen, I love it as a fan, but he would drive me nuts if he was my quarterback, right? Like, you know, how many times did he throw the ball away? You know, you throw it into coverage, trying to make the amazing play versus throw it out of bounds and live to play another down. So I will say this: I do think it's interesting that in all of our lists, even our honorable mentions, there were only one present day quarterback. So only one person playing today makes the cut on all 3 of our lists. Right. You know, there's guys that are playing now that maybe could find themselves at some point on the list, but I mean, Josh Allen would be in consideration. You know, Lamar is in consideration, although he needs to show me something in the postseason. You know, Joe Burrow, if it wasn't for the injuries. I mean, we can say what if, but I do find it interesting that in today's game where they're throwing the football more than ever and defensive backs aren't allowed to breathe on a wide receiver without drawing a flag, that you know, that our collective 3 minds did not pick more than one present quarterback.
Well, to go off of what you're saying, there's Patrick Mahomes is cut from a different cloth. He really likes the game. He knows he's going to be rewarded with salary, and that, to me, a lot of the other guys are money based. Maybe not Josh Allen so much, but Patrick Mahomes, you've seen it time and time again where, you've heard it, where he's taking less money to make sure he gets the right people on his team to help out the organization, not just for self. He's the QB. He's going to get paid. And you don't see that a lot in these days. In these days, you see once the guy gets the so-called bag, he disappears. You don't see the greatness in him anymore, Deshaun Watson. And it is what it is. Like, as soon as they get paid, they become ghosts, invisible. Yeah. It's like they're a shell of a person. They're playing the game, but are they really playing to win, or are they just playing for the next paycheck? Well, it's very seldom you see a guy that actually on the field that looks like he's hardworking and he wants to win. To me, the game has changed a bit to me when it comes to this money and actually guys going out there for the love of the game and giving it their 100% their all.
I don't disagree with you, and I think, as we've talked before, I think that's why NIL is so bad for college football, right?
Yeah.
And you take these guys like an Arch Manning, who has never, up until last year, wasn't even a starter at Texas, and had made millions and millions of dollars because his last name is Manning, and he looked pretty good in high school. And where's the drive, right? Like, where's his desire? Look at the draft the last couple of years in football, where a lot of the best quarterbacks don't come out because they make more money in NIL with less pressure in college to stay in college.
Yes.
And you apply that to the pros, and to be great, to be on this list, the GOAT list, as if we're talking about that, you have to give everything of yourself to be great. And you think about Manning, going to Germany and getting, his neck operated on, and finding ways to get himself healthy to get back out on the field. You talk about Brady with his knee surgeries and all the injuries that he took, and fighting through and rehabbing and getting his body right to continue to play. Montana just getting absolutely pummeled because he was not a big guy, but yet doing whatever he could to get out there to play. And even on my, John had multiple knee injuries. John Elway, that is, so you just start going through the list, and these guys gave everything to their team to make everybody better, and they were driven. And yes, they knew the reward was going to come, but they weren't making business decisions, because they need a pretty face to keep playing. So, I think that's one of the biggest, problems. And I think if we, on a related note, the biggest issue in football, in professional football right now, is that teams that don't have a good quarterback don't win. And very few of the quarterbacks that come out of college are good quarterbacks. And every year, the draft, the first 1, 2, 3 picks every year in the draft is more than likely going to be a quarterback. And more than likely, 2 of those 3 guys are going to be busts. And
everybody's searching for that diamond in the rough.
The other guy is going to be decent, and but not top tier. And then your team never takes the next step to be great. And and we can look around the league, the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers haven't been great since Ben retired. The only team that seems to have gotten it right time and time again are the Green Bay Packers, who have taken a lot of crap for drafting the heir apparent way too early, and their fans liking, but yet fast forward 4 or 5 seasons later, and they've made the right choice, and they have a good quarterback. I mean, think about being a Packer fan. They've now had damn near 28 seasons of really good quarterback play. I mean, 2 Hall of Famers, and Jordan Love, I mean, he still has a lot to prove. But he's shown the potential to be very, very good. But you look around the league, there's a lot of teams that have had so-so quarterbacks. Tony Romo gives way to Dak. Dak is a good quarterback, but I don't know that he'll ever be a great quarterback and take them to where they want to go. And you can go team by team by team and go through this, and that's the issue that the NFL has, is these guys are not pro ready. They come in, and the defenses are so smart and so sophisticated that they get them on you. They figure out how to exploit you and defeat you, and that's why the Mahomes are so rare. The Joe Burrows are so rare, because they're just a different guy versus the other 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think that is the one downside of the game of football right now, is the quarterbacks coming in are not able to produce at the NFL level.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with the way evaluating the position has come from what it used to be. And as you said about Green Bay hasn't stopped the old tradition of picking up a QB early and letting him sit and learn the speed, get the speed before you put him in, and get him gun shy by getting him hit or even getting him hurt early. Green Bay has not abandoned the old ways, and a lot of teams have, just like with this analytics, they've totally, they're winging it. He was good in college. He's going to start as soon as he comes here. And I don't think that's the way to do it. There's only certain people that have that it factor about it that you can directly insert coming from out of college. And a lot of teams have just gotten carried away with gun ho, put him in. And then once a person gets hit a certain way, once a person gets hit too many times, they lose their it factor. A lot of people don't have that fortitude, that mental strength to understand. All right, wipe it off, and we start over with the next set of plays when we get the ball. A lot of them, it's like a deer in the headlights once they take that big hit.
Yeah, Wayne, no, you're right. Everything you said is spot on. But the other thing is, and this is where, the salary cap is good and bad, right? The salary cap is great because it creates the ability for equal footing across the league. And, teams with low money, teams with high money have to play by the same set of rules to play their players. But it derails for that first round draft pick that there's so much money invested into that quarterback position that you don't have the ability to carry a veteran and a first round draft pick in most opportunities. Because if you're doing that, you're paying $45 million or almost, 32% of your salary cap for those two players, and you still have to fill out the rest of your 51 more players to fill out your roster. So that I think the NFL would be wise to find a path to almost make, and I know they want to have a hard cap and I get all that, but to find a way to offset the quarterback position. And maybe if you reward the quarterback that you drafted, so let's say, a CJ Stroud, a Bryce Young, who are coming up for their second contracts, and maybe that contract becomes exempted and doesn't count against your salary cap. Because what happens is, you can't afford to pay your quarterback and then also fill out the roster around them. And that's a problem, because and the NBA has that problem. They keep changing the rules, but I mean, I know we're not talking about the NBA right now, but look at all the movement just today in the NBA. I mean, multiple trades, multiple guys opting in, opting out, trying to get to the hard level exemption. I mean, John Morant gets traded for, to Portland, and all the other teams. Draymond Green opts out of his contract where he could have guaranteed himself $28 million, because he thinks the Warriors are making other moves. It makes it very hard as a fan to follow, right? When your team goes out and drafts good talent, and I'm going to talk about my Warriors for a second. The Warriors drafted Steph Curry, drafted Klay Thompson, drafted Draymond Green. You shouldn't have to break apart your team because you drafted well. You shouldn't be punished because you did a great job drafting. And to me, the NBA missed a great chance because, I'm not making fun of LeBron, so don't take it that way, Steve. But when LeBron chose to join Bosh and Wade in Miami, okay, and just like when Durant chose to join the Warriors, they created a super team and they had to work within the rules of the cap to do it. But when you have guys that you drafted, you should get an exemption for keeping your own. Oklahoma City is going to be in that same boat in about 2 years.
Yeah.
And so they should get an exemption for the guys that they drafted and developed and turned into this really, really good team. Houston's going to be in that position in a few years, and that's a shame to me, because that's doing a disservice to the fans. And the NFL has that same problem. But like for me right now, right now in the NBA, I don't know who's on my team and who isn't.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I get a lot of people that drop comments and send me messages. A lot of fans just like us are out there that say they're not into it the way they used to be, because the teams don't ever stay the same. There's no loyalty on teams. Right. A lot of people like the old style of people and they know their team. They work with their team, and they know once their team achieves something, they're used to the same players that's on the team. So a lot to what you're saying.
How do I build a relationship with my team when it's different every year? I mean, and I don't mean a little different. I mean dramatically different. And the part of being a fan and being loyal to your team is the guys like, Steve's sitting there wearing a Washington Commanders hat, but I'm sure, when he thinks back in his memory bank, it's the Theismans, the Riggins, the Dexter Manleys, the Art Monks, the Green, the Sean, guys that were there for a long time in the good times and the bad. And that's my guy, man, and he was my dude. And I love that dude. And then Mark Rippon came along out of nowhere, and he did some things and took us to some places. And we had Doug Williams and all these guys where you're like, yes, he came from Tampa Bay, but when he became, a member of our squad, he really flourished and really became a star. Those are the things that, like, where you can build a relationship with the team. That's the biggest, in my point, the NBA has a problem. How do I build a relationship with my team when I don't even know who's on my team 1 year to the next?
Yes.
You know, who's this guy? You know, he goes in the game. I don't even know who that guy is. Like, where did he come from? You know, and
Well,
you know, oh, we drafted this guy. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Let me throw this at you, Patrick. Though, because you deep with the Warriors, and the Warriors, as far as the organization that's kept his front office, kept his head coach, players, foundation that has lasted a good 11, 12 years now. We're talking about the Curry, Draymond Green, that run. It's been a good 11, 12 years, and that is the except. When most of the teams, you know, they'll drop you in this. Look at great example. Look at Giannis. He showed extreme loyalty to Milwaukee for how many years? 9 years, 10 years. What does he have to show for it? He has a ring. Do we ever talk about him in the GOAT conversation? No. Why not? Because of his loyalty to Milwaukee, he as his legacy goes, because people see all the not getting the job done in Milwaukee. What did Milwaukee do to help him, to bring players around him to make him better? Nothing.
Well, I'm going to stop you there. I mean, they did trade for Damian Lillard. They had Bobby Porter. You know, they had players. It just didn't work. I mean, you know, but
that's the point. It didn't work.
But your point is taken.
Is that Giannis' fault, though?
No, but here's my thing. If the NBA salary cap was different and you could keep paying Giannis and it didn't hurt you because they drafted him, they could have gone out and built a better team around him. But because he commands the supermax and he gets paid the $55 million or whatever the heck it is these days, you know, and that cuts into your cap space where that limits your moves to improve your team around a player, you know, and that's the problem with the NBA, in my opinion. Like, it just hurts you to draft well. Like, your punishment in 5 years from having a successful draft this year is you're probably only going to be able to keep one of the two superstars that you drafted because you can't afford to keep them both. You can't put them both on a supermax. And I think that's wrong. I think that's a mistake. Because
a lot of fans feel this way.
We're fans first, and I want to love my team.
With your Warriors, 2016, we all know about Believe Land. We all know about the Cleveland win. What did the Warriors do? Did they sit on their laurels and say, okay, well, let's just forget about it? No. They went on and got the best player available in the league at that time, Kevin Durant, to join. They didn't give any of their top three. They kept Draymond Green, they Klay Thompson, and they went on and win 2 straight championships. That's what great organizations do. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that if you're a great organization, you get the job done. You do whatever it takes.
But they couldn't keep that team together, though, financially. That's the point. What they couldn't keep that team together.
I mean, 30 organizations that would have been more than happy to have those 2 back-to-back championships that the Warriors got the year after Cleveland, because they went on and got Durant. Look how many organizations have never won a championship.
No, you guys understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, why should an organization be punished for drafting well and attracting talent, and then the NBA changes the rules so that the Warriors can't keep their team together because they want parity? To me, that's BS. You build a team based on a set of rules, and then the NBA says, you know what? The Warriors are too good. The rest of the NBA owners are upset. We're going to change the hard cap in the luxury tax rules, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to punish the Warriors, and the Warriors can't keep their team together anymore, and therefore they can't win anymore. See, and everyone wants to say, oh, that's great, who aren't Warrior fans, but they're not going to like it when they're OKC fans in a year or two, or Rocket fans in a year or two, or Knicks fans in a year or two, when they can't keep their teams together and they have to break their teams apart, or Bucks fans, and now they traded Giannis for basically nothing, you know, and great. But see, here's the problem. Miami gets Giannis. What did they do what are they going to bring around him to win?
Good
question. They re-signed Andrew Wiggins today. Okay, I love Wiggs, but is that twosome gonna win a championship?
Great. Well,
great point.
Great question to make, but is the league better now with this current, or was it better back in the days when you only had and they were winning year after year after year, and then the rest of the league stunk. I mean that's the two options. The options league where there is some level of parity.
No, those aren't the two options. Those aren't the two options. The options well, the option was this was the option. The option is that you create a set of rules, and this is what the NBA has done, by the way. The NBA does not have a hard cap, right? They have mid-level exemptions, they have a supermax, right. They have all these ways to get around, quote unquote, a hard cap. What they did was that when they changed the rules, they changed the way in which the first and second aprons of the luxury tax and punished the teams that were, quote unquote, habitual offenders, and therefore they locked them into being hard cap locked, and therefore they could not make any move outside of that. That rule right there is wrong, because if you want to invest in your team and if the ownership wants to not profit and are willing to pay it. But see, now you're going to have the Knicks are going to have to break their team apart. They've already said that Dolan has already said we will not be a repeater on the hard level. So they won a championship. Great for them. Great for the league. But now they're gonna have to strip their team apart. That sucks. Yeah. That sucks for that team.
I hear you. It does. It sucks in a way, but they also are saying we're not going to have the Lakers, the Celtics, the cities that can afford to keep paying those high. We're not going to allow them to get away with it. We're going to make it where the Memphises, get to be. I mean, that's the
they don't want to be. But those teams don't want to be competitive.
I know, but we've seen in the NBA before where the Lakers and the Celtics had 35 championships in the course of 50 years, whatever, because the rest of the league sucked. And they sucked because the Celtics and Lakers can get the best players.
I know we're getting way down a tangent here, but I just want to make this last point. If you, as an owner of a franchise in any professional sports, if you don't want to invest to make your team great, then there should be a lever, a mechanism to remove you as an owner, because that's what's going to make the league great, right? You can't have baseball owners like the A's and the Pirates, and the Reds to some extent, where the Marlins and the Devil Rays, where they don't care at all about maintaining their players or investing in their team. They're happy to share the revenue sharing. They're happy to make their money. They don't give a crap about putting a product on the field that's going to win. And I think that's wrong. There should be a mechanism to remove you. It's the same in basketball, where these teams are tanking and they're trying to get a better lottery odds and all the rest of that stuff, to be better. And that's bad for the game. It makes it unwatchable at times. And that's why, regular season basketball at times is hard to watch. Regular season baseball gets hard to watch, especially when teams playing a team that did, oh, great. I don't even know anybody on that team, they're playing against, in football, like you could make an argument that the Bengals ownership should be reviewed and looked at. I know that, Brown's the original family and all that stuff, but they're not trying to win. They're not investing in their team to make them great.
And when it's completely obvious that you see that and it's evident, then this should be implemented, what Patrick's saying.
Every year they have like 50 million of extra cap space available. It's wrong, and it's not great for the sport, because what you're talking about, I understand parity, and I understand the philosophy of saying every team has a chance at the beginning of every season to win. You just got to do it, right? I get that, and I think that is part of what makes the game great, and that's the bonus side of the salary cap that we've been talking about tonight. But we've been talking about the negatives. I have, at least, about the negatives of the salary cap. But the plus side of the salary cap is exactly what you're talking about. That is if teams invest and build their teams to win. Unfortunately, we've seen many occurrences of franchises that just aren't interested in winning because they either don't have the financial means or they just don't care. I mean, listen, when was the last time the Raiders were relevant?
Wow. Raider Nation. Raider Nation. We ask you guys now. When was the last time the Raiders were relevant?
They make money. They make tons of money.
The Cowboys make money. But that's the whole point.
But the Cowboys, although they haven't won a Super Bowl in a long time, they compete for playoffs. They compete for postseason. They're in the mix. The Raiders haven't been in the mix since when Gruden was there, and Derek
1984.
Carr was in that game, and they're up
well.
44
I
to
suffered
7.
through it. 1984.
Yeah.
That was the last Great Britain team. I suffered through it. But my point is that the Raiders make a ton of money. How can you tell Davis?
Because Mark Davis, he doesn't have money like the other guys. He's not a titan of industry. He inherited a football team, right. and that's his source of that is his sole source of revenue. He doesn't have. He's not the owner of Google or the owner of Walmart that owns the Broncos. Like he's not that guy, and so he doesn't have the money to invest in his team, and the results have shown. Look at. I mean, the Raiders haven't had a winning team
in
decades.
Over and over again.
Yeah, and they drafted like crap. I mean, they picked the dude from the NFL Network, Michael Mayock, and he Mr. I know everything about the NFL draft, and he absolutely shit the bed on his drafts. Period.
Unfortunately, we do have a few teams that just have wide fan bases that no matter if they win or lose, that team still makes a lot of money off jersey sales, off of selling tablecloths and curtains and bathroom ornaments with their logos on it. There's certain teams that just get away with it. There's just certain teams that get away with it.
But I'm not closing on this though. Look at this. The Washington Commanders. The fan base had to force Snyder. I mean, we had to go so belligerent to force Snyder to sell the team in order to do what? To be relevant. And the Raider fan base has to say enough is enough and get Davis out of there if you ever have a chance to win. They had to force him out.
My point is the fan base shouldn't have to do that. The league should have mechanisms.
They shouldn't have.
The league should have a mechanism to say if you're not going to invest, if you're not going to look, if you buy a McDonald's franchise, you have to invest at a certain level in marketing. You have to invest at a certain level at various things. The NFL should be no different
through their distribution, and if you don't hold up to the standard, then you get revoked.
Yeah, and that's what pro sports should have in their.
That's how you're not going to be. But the reality, though, is that as long as that beautiful stadium in Vegas, that beautiful Allegiant Stadium is sold out every game, as long as you get the high ratings, Davis is never going to win. Incentivized to win. Why be incentivized to win when you still get everything?
And that's the thing that we're talking about right there. That's the thing where when I talk about like boxing commission, when we talk about the NFL, the commissioner and the powers that be in any sport, they have to implement and put things to make the sport what it's supposed to be, not just linger and let things ride to where we're talking about it now. It's as plain as the nose on your face. We see it. It needs to be changed. And us as the fans, they're speaking out. More fans are speaking out. Like I told you, they were dropping me in my inbox where Patrick hit it on the nose about people want to see their team. They don't want to see all these different faces interchanging every year. They want to get to love their team like they used to love their team and be basically be like family. They want their team to feel like family. They want to know that I didn't watch last year because you know how some fans are. They watch 2 games and they consider themselves a fan and they get to dropping names. You're like, that person has been on the team in 2 years. Fans want familiarity, and basketball, football, fans are speaking out. We need y'all. We need you to handle it. Goodell, we need you to handle it. But hey, that's our time. We'll be here Wednesday, 7 p.m. Blow the Whistle Sports. We'll see y'all. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell a friend, tell another friend. And thank you for watching. Patrick, Steve, thank you guys. And
thank you guys.
See y'all Wednesday.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Peace
out.